Okay, guys, welcome back to the channel. So, with Dricus du Plessis winning his fight against Izzy, there's something that we need to discuss. And this is a topic that's being covered quite a bit lately. The fact that Dricus is awkward and sloppy. Now, I just want to say, being sloppy isn't good criticism. And what I mean is that because it's sloppy and it doesn't look aesthetically pleasing, you can't critique somebody's fighting style based on that. And the reason why I say that is because if somebody's sloppy but they're winning fights, what are they doing wrong? Looking aesthetically sloppy but winning fights means you're doing something right. So why are we critiquing someone because they're not doing clean, cut, sharp techniques? So let's talk about other examples, right? If we look at boxing, for instance, if you're not getting hit but you're landing all your punches, you are winning. So what is the problem? If we look at boxers like Rocky Marciano, he was also very sloppy. He was not technically gifted, but he has used some techniques, even though not aesthetically pleasing to the eye. He managed to close the range and, land power shots and win his fights. I mean, he modified a gazelle punch in a weird way that worked for him and helped him to close the distance because of his short arms, his short reach. Look at Deontay Wilder. He's been throwing those windmill punches for ages, and look how far he came with his professional career.
Round one, he is Ragnarocking.
Yeah, eventually it caught up with him when he faced the wrong guys, but still, he had a lengthy career and is quite successful, but also very sloppy fighter. Now, if we look at grappling, remember when Nick Rodriguez was a blue belt competing at ADCC? Also not aesthetically pleasing and clean-cut technique like the rest of the black belts and other grapplers in the competition.
One of the best, probably the best guard in the heavyweight division. So there we go. You were right.
Yeah, that was something that brought.
Did that matter? Absolutely not, because he sent guys like Cyborg Abreu crying all the way to Hawaii. Even though that he was not using clean-cut techniques, he was winning the grip fights, getting the superior positions, and, he was winning all his matches. So when it comes to Dricus, he moves awkwardly and looks like a brawling type of style. However, it is working. We need to remember, is he telegraphing his movements when it comes to striking? If he's difficult to read, yes, he's going to close the distance and land his punches. I mean, if you look at him lunge forward, right? That whole lunging forward is kind of a thing that you shouldn't be doing. Because, you're sticking out your chin and you're recklessly going in. But he's always made his opponents back up and made sure that they're, kind of off balance first before he does that sort of thing. That's what catches his opponents off guard. Also, he's very good at timing his takedowns. He's got very awkward takedowns, but they seem to just work. And what makes takedowns work? Just making sure that the stance is broken and they're easy to, keep off balance. So, at the end of the day, critiquing his technique because it just doesn't look like clean, sharp techniques is not a good enough criticism. I mean, if you start any combat sport, you need to learn the rules in order to break the rules. Has he broken the rules? Yeah, definitely. But he is still applying the same concepts that you will learn underneath all those techniques in the first place. And he's just playing with those. So, if you're controlling the range, direction, and the pacing of the fight, I mean, you're most likely going to be controlling the entire fight. If you're creating those angles and striking your opponent when they don't see those strikes happening, you're going to do some damage. If you're the one who's closing the distance when you think it's necessary to do so, or you're closing the distance when you are in control and landing the strikes, that's all that matters. However, the more athletic you are, the less techniques you can get away with. And Dricus is a athletic human being, so he can definitely get away with quite a few things. And of course, the weaker and more feeble you are, the stricter with your techniques you need to be. So at the end of the day, all I'm trying to say is rather think of the concepts behind those techniques than the actual techniques themselves. If it looks sloppy and not aesthetically pleasing, that doesn't matter. Are you following the concepts that make the techniques work in the first place? If so, what's the problem? So anyway, if you're going to critique somebody like Dricus for being sloppy and you're comparing him to people before him, that's a bit unfair. Critique him based on the concepts behind those things, and if you can see where he is wrong on that level, then you can give the critique where necessary. If it's awkward and it works, then it works. Then there's no problem. But anyway, that's actually all I wanted to mention about this topic. Until next time, take care, keep safe. Cheers.